And this is what one of my meltdowns looked like. And this was a month ago. American Airlines threatened to call the cops on me because I was trying to fly from LAX to Louisiana, and my flights were canceled, and I wasn't going to be able to make my speaking engagement. And it just, that shocked my system because it was 1 minute to boarding. I was ready to board the flight, and then all of a sudden, canceled. And then all the flights through DFW that day canceled. So it was a very drastic shock. I went from just about to board the flight to, oh my God, I'm not going to make my speaking engagement, and that picture I created is falling apart in my head. So I was rattled, but I composed myself. I started getting very overwhelmed though, because again, my survival mode went even further up more than usual, and I became more situationally aware. So while I could handle the crowds prior to the flight getting canceled, after the cancellation, I could not handle the crowds. And I immediately put my hood on, and I'm shaking. I'm trying to, regulate myself while trying to find a quiet space in this crazy airport. And the only place I could find was the airport lounge for American Airlines. So I go in there and I tell them, I'm having a meltdown, I have autism, I need to see if I can rebook my flight. And they say, we can do that for you, but the day fee for the Admirals Club is going to be $79. And I said, no, I don't want to go into the lounge. I just need someone to help me rebook the flight. And they said, oh, you can go to customer service. Now, customer service was in the crazy crowd with about 50 people in line. I told them I could not do that. And they said, well, we can do it for you, but there's a day fee, a pass. You would have to pay $80. I'm like, no, I just need an accommodation. Do you have disability accommodation? They started lecturing me about the ADA. Again, it's like they tell us to self-advocate, and then I self-advocate, and I don't get believed, or I get completely dismissed. I ultimately had to escalate to his manager, and then to her manager. I talked to 4 people in that state looking like that. Again, you can tell it in my eyes. You can tell by the fact that I'm sweating, that I'm crying. You can tell I look dejected and defeated. I am posing no harm. Nobody would help me. Nobody. So after that, I was, again, completely astounded at the lack of compassion. And I sat on the floor of the lounge check-in area just so I could get through my meltdown. I think it was probably going to last 10, 15, 20 minutes. They told me I could not stay there. Now, I realized I was not making a scene. I picked a corner of the lounge where nobody else could really see me. They walked over to me, again, standing over me, saying, sir, we are going to need you to leave. If you do not leave, we will call law enforcement because you are loitering. And just hearing the word loitering, as if I'm there to just, mess things up for other people and just fool around, to just hang out there when obviously I'm in distress, that completely freaked me out. And I immediately called my mom, and I start hyperventilating anymore. And I'm just like, Mom, they're going to call the cops. And it was very traumatic, and it happens not infrequently in my life. Thankfully, however, the law enforcement did not come, because one employee saw what was happening, and she intervened because I found out later she had a nephew with autism. And she was the one who actually suffered with me. She got on the floor next to me and just kept repeating, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. I don't know why that was so hard for the other people to be able to figure out. But that's the reality of the situation. That's what I encounter a lot. Please don't just look, don't just see, don't just perceive, observe. Because I guarantee you show this picture to 100 people on the street, a lot of them will say, no, he doesn't look like he's going to harm anybody in that moment. But yet again, we don't like to talk about emotions in public. How cool would it be if every one of us felt safe enough to break down in public? And think about how sad it is, what a sad state of affair it is, that none of us feel safe enough to do that. It's because we're told to, suck it up and fake it till you make it. I hate that term, fake it till you make it. Sometimes I can't make it, and sometimes I can't fake it. I wish we talked more openly about vulnerable topics, because it would help me a hell of a lot if people got more familiar with the turmoil I experience on a very frequent basis.